everyone, welcome back. This is the Invested Dog, back at it again. And today we are going to talk about ticket symbol IONQ. And before we get started with this, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, if you want to just talk about the stock directly, just go to that 5-minute mark. But for everybody else that wants to know about the history behind it, why it's taking place, what's happening, what's going on, we are going to look at that first. First, starting off on the list, should I buy, hold, or sell IonQ stock before Q1 earnings? In my opinion, I think this could possibly be a decent win. IonQ is scheduled to release its first quarter 2026 results on May 6th amid rapid strategic, executive, and expansion efforts. However, a complex macroeconomic drop down and border weakness in the tech sector has weighed on investments' opinion. What do we think? We think Ion stock declined almost 36% is a good thing? Probably not. It declined almost 36% during the January to March quarter of 2026, despite continued executive across key strategic initiatives. Today, it's only May 4th, so it's already having that type of drop off. Who knows what Q2 has in store for us? I'm not exactly sure what to expect from Ion Q1 results. Ion entered the first quarter of 2026 with a strong momentum following a solid 2025 quarter. Fourth quarter 2025 revenues were up almost 425%. It was a little bit higher than that year over year, leading to a full 2025 revenue growth of 202% over 2024. When we dive into the stock, it's going to tell us a little bit more about revenue versus earnings. The first quarter of 2026, IonQ guided revenues to $48 to $41 million, implying sensational return. Ion exited 2025 with $370 million in remaining performance obligations. Okay, I'm not sure. We'll see how that's going to turn out. Let's go over here and look at the mid-cap stock to research further. And the two that we are going to turn down. Let's get rid of this. We don't need any advertisement here. Many investors may pay attention to mid-cap stock market because they have established business models and expectations for that particular stock. This is precisely where stock story comes in. We do have every lifting in the industry to identify which stocks and which dividend stocks, I should say, will pay more. They talk about Heinz, why you possibly should invest into Heinz. They talk about Tapestry, ticket symbol TPR. This is a pretty good source to be talking about every stock that's out there. But the one that we want to focus on is Ion. Ion was founded by quantum physics pioneer from the University of Maryland and Duke University back in 2025. Ion, ticket symbol IonQ, develops quantum computers that processes information using trapped ions to solve complex computational, that's a hard word to say. Every video I get stuck up on one word or another. Computational problems beyond the capabilities of traditional computers. So why buy quantum? Why should we buy quantum? Let's go over here and take a look at what this last article says before we get into the actual stock. Let's go down here, and the stock is positioned to benefit from quantum push. Against this backdrop, a mix of quantum leaders and enabling technology players stand to its benefit. We do think, I am a part of that crew that does think that quantum, that does think that IonQ will benefit significantly. Right before I get into the actual stock, let me read this last thing to you. The legislation comes amid rising global competition, partly from China and the European Union, and reflecting growth concerns in the U.S. leadership with quantum research. A key near-term impact of the act will likely be improved funding visibility and tighter collaboration across federal agencies such as the Department of Energy, National Science Foundation, NIST, with NASA, and now added as a formal partner. Let's get straight into the stock here. What did they close off on May 1st? May 1st, they closed off at $46.26. Is ION, ticket symbol IONQ, worth the investment? In just 1 month alone, look at the returns that it had so far. So far, with 1 month alone, investors were able to get almost a 60% return. Yes, in 6 months, it did drop off a little bit, almost 13%. But long-term, this is a great investment to have within the portfolio during a recession. In 1 year's time, if you would have bought in May of 2024, you would have been buying it at $29.14. Today, it's at a whopping $46.86, and today it's 11:49 a.m. and it's already up. Almost about to reach maybe 2%. 5 years, if you would have bought in 2021, it was closing out at $9.95. Look at the return on that. That's a $338% return, If you would have bought it when it first opened up, it back in February of 2021, it was opening at $11.45. That is a great return. 318.61% return on investment. IonQ is making significant stride in quantum computing with a price target of $47. We're going to get into the price target and what we think about it all. That's according to Morgan Stanley, and let's see what it's actually saying down here. Your performance overall on stocks, this person never lies. You can always estimate where a stock is going to go by looking at the performance overview. Revenue versus earnings for quarters. Yes, it was almost breaking even for Q1 and almost breaking even for Q2 of this year, 2025. Well, last year. We're in 2026 now. But of the latest Q2 revenue versus earnings. They lost some money. They lost a lot of money. If you go over to the annual side of 2022, their revenue was $130 million, but they did lose $510 million. And that continued to go on until 2025, until they were able to break out, and the revenue was $43 million. So yes, it is something to watch. IonQ is a stock to watch and to pay attention to. But the return is already up 3% compared to the S&P 500, which is 5%. The 1 year, it's up 50% compared to the S&P 500, 26%. 3-year return, the IonQ is up 736% compared to the S&P, which is 77%. Yes, with the earnings per share, we did miss for Q2 of 2025. However, every quarter, well, I don't want to say every quarter because it's still developing. It's still a newer stock to the market. But at least for Q1 2025, they were able to make a profit. Some of the analysis recommendations are saying to buy. Some of them are saying to hold. None of them are saying to sell. Benchmark says buy. I say buy. I would say to buy, try to get it on the lower side of $35. Right now it's $46.57. Even if you get it on average of $64.56, I would say buy. I think that quantum computing does have a long way to go. However, we are in that direction. IonQ is making significant stride in quantum computing. And I'm hoping that the $47, the price target of that, they will actually make. Analysts are cautious about this, but I think this stock is evident by the Morgan Stanley upgrade. And I think that the concerns over the evaluation and the execution risks of the stock remain prevalent amongst investors. And of course, you guys, this is the Invested Dog signing off until next time.